مجمع الأندلس التعليمي، تعلم عصري ملهم بهوية وطنية وقيم إسلامية.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أحمد أبو العلا with you, grade 11, unit 3B, writing a story, part 2. Unit 2, experience the world. Writing, students book, page 49. Our objectives today: at the end of the period, students should be able to: number 1, identify the keywords in a writing prompt. Number 2, brainstorming and planning a narrative. Number 3, write a narrative that contains all the components. Students book, page 49. Writing exercise F, G, and H. Exercise F, students book, page 49. The head of the question is: read the writing task below and underline the keywords or phrases, then answer the questions that follow. We are looking for stories for our special holiday edition. Your story must describe a holiday experience which taught you a valuable lesson. What is the purpose of this story? Who will read this story? What features should you include to make your story interesting? We are looking for stories for our special holiday edition. This is the describe a holiday experience. Taught. Valuable lesson. The first question answer is to entertain the readers of this magazine. This is the purpose of this story. The second question: who will read this story? The readers of this magazine. What features should you include to make your story interesting? Direct speech, questions, exclamations, powerful language, elements of plot development. Exercise G, students book, page 49. Now do the tasks that follow to help you generate ideas for your story. Number 1, imagine that a friend of yours has recently had an interesting holiday experience that taught him or her a valuable lesson. What kind of questions would you ask to find out about his or her experience? Using the questions words in the diagram below, come up with as many questions as possible. The questions should cover various aspects of the experience that could be of interest. Where, when, who, what, how, and why. A valuable holiday experience. Number 2, after you have come up with the questions, choose those that you consider most important and answer them for yourself to come up with the details of a story in which you are the protagonist. Who were you with? Who did you go on holiday with? Where were you? What time of day was it? When did this happen? When did you have this experience? What happened? Where were you when this happened? What were you doing when this happened? What did you hear? What did you see? What did you say to the person who was with you? How did you feel when this happened? What did you do? How did you deal with the situation? Why did you decide to deal with the situation in that way? How was the situation resolved? Who helped you? How did you feel when the situation was resolved? What did you do when the situation was resolved? How do you feel about the situation now? How did you change after this experience? Open answers. We need answers for these questions to complete our story. Exercise H, Students Book, page 49. Read the tip below, then go to the workbook page 40 to 42 and using the ideas you came up with, plan and write your story. When writing a story, try to keep the plot of the story fairly simple. Use a different paragraph for each stage of the story. Refer to the events in the order in which they occur. Refer to how people, places, experiences made you feel. Use past, narrative tenses. Use linking words to indicate the sequence of events to express results, etc. Vary the language you use. Use short sentences to create suspense, direct speech to add realism and provide insight into the main characters, thoughts and feelings, questions for dramatic effect, and exclamations to express emotion, etc. Use colorful descriptive vocabulary, adjectives, adverbs, phrases, and expressions to excite your reader's imagination. Use a dictionary, thesaurus, to replace words that are too dull or common and to avoid repetition. Watch the following video again about the elements of short stories.
There are 5 parts to every story. First, there are characters, the subjects, people, animals, etc. that the author writes about. The characters participate in events that move the plot forward. Second, there's plot. Plot is all of the events of a story. Characters and setting are introduced in the exposition, conflicts or problems occur during the rising action, and the biggest moment of the story is called the climax. The end is the resolution. The third part of a story is setting, which refers to when and where a story takes place. This includes anything from a house or a store to the moon or a rocket ship in outer space. Fourth, there's conflict, which is the problem the character faces. Conflict may be between 2 characters, between a main character and nature, or between the main character and himself. The theme of the story is the lesson, message, or moral that the author is trying to communicate through the plot and characters. Common themes include you can't buy happiness, the early bird gets the worm, and all you need is love. So, to recap, there are 5 parts of a story: character, plot, setting, conflict, and theme.
Now, workbook page 40 to 42, writing exercise F, G, and H. Workbook page 40, writing plan, a story. Complete the writing plan below and write your story on the next page. Introduction, describing the scene. Where? Plane, Cancun. When? Holiday time. Major protagonist, my friends and I, stranger, thief. Main parts, narrating the story, a stranger, distracting me. Climax, a thief stole my suitcase. Falling action, checking the backpack. Conclusion, ending the story, feeling satisfied that I had my passport and money. Don't put all eggs in one basket. Workbook page 41. Now use your notes on the previous page and write your story. As I was getting off the plane, I had no idea what was in store for me. This was supposed to be the ideal holiday. 2 weeks of sun and fun in Cancun with my friends. I couldn't hide my excitement. Things were just fine until a stranger started talking to me in a language I didn't recognize while we were waiting for a taxi to take us to our hotel. I was about to tell him that I had no idea what he was saying when someone bumped into me from behind. When I turned around to look, I saw someone walk away and disappear into the crowd of people waiting for buses. When I turned back again, the person who had spoken to me before was gone. But so was my suitcase. I tried to stay calm and asked my friends if they had seen anything, but none had, because they had been looking out for taxis coming from the other direction. I couldn't believe it. My holiday was ruined. I checked the backpack I was carrying. Thankfully, I had all my money and cards in there. So the only things I had lost were my clothes, which could be easily replaced in the town. Things could have been a lot worse. They might have taken my passport or all my money. Thank you and goodbye.
مجمع الأندلس التعليمي، تعلم عصري ملهم بهوية وطنية. وقيم إسلامية.